The year is 772 AD. Picture a Europe fractured and uncertain. Out of the chaos, a young king rises in the west. His name is Charlemagne, and he has a vision. He dreams of unity, of a new Roman Empire, a Christian empire. To the east of his Frankish kingdom lie the Saxons, a Germanic people clinging to their pagan gods. They represent a challenge, an obstacle to Charlemagne's grand ambition. He will not tolerate their defiance. He will conquer, convert, and control. This is the story of the Saxon Wars, a 30-year struggle that would reshape the map of Europe. Charlemagne was a man of immense energy and ambition. He was a warrior king, a skilled strategist, and a ruthless politician. He believed he was chosen by God to rule, to bring Christianity to the pagan world. The Saxons, with their ancient beliefs and fierce independence, stood in his way. They were a loose confederation of tribes, skilled warriors who fought fiercely for their freedom. The clash between Charlemagne and the Saxons was inevitable, a clash of cultures, religions, and wills. The war began with a symbolic act of aggression. In 772 AD, Charlemagne led his army deep into Saxon territory. Their target? The Irminsul, a sacred pillar or tree revered by the Saxons. This was no mere military campaign, it was a statement. By destroying the Irminsul, Charlemagne struck at the heart of Saxon identity, their beliefs, their very soul. The Saxons were outraged. This was not just a war for land, but a war for their way of life. The destruction of the Irminsul ignited a firestorm of resistance. Saxon warriors, fueled by anger and a desire for revenge, rose up against the Frankish invaders. They were not a united force, but a collection of tribes, each fighting for its own land and freedom. Their tactics were those of guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run raids, ambushes, and lightning-fast retreats. The Saxons knew their land, its forests and swamps, and they used it to their advantage. Charlemagne had underestimated the tenacity and ferocity of his enemy. The Saxon wars would be long and bloody. Among the Saxon leaders, one name stands out: Widukind. A chieftain of immense courage and charisma, he became a symbol of Saxon resistance. Widukind refused to bow to Charlemagne, refused to abandon his gods, his people, his way of life. He became a rallying point for the Saxon tribes, uniting them in their struggle against Frankish domination. Widukind was a master of guerrilla warfare. He knew how to exploit the dense forests and treacherous marshes of Saxony, turning them into deadly traps for the Frankish armies. Time and again, Widukind's forces harassed Charlemagne's armies, ambushing them in the forests, disappearing into the marshes only to reappear when least expected. The Saxons fought with the fury of cornered wolves, defending their homeland with every ounce of their strength. Charlemagne, accustomed to swift victories, found himself bogged down in a protracted and bloody conflict. The Saxons may not have been able to match the Franks in open battle, but their guerrilla tactics were taking a heavy toll. The year 782 was a turning point in the Saxon Wars. Charlemagne, enraged by the stubborn resistance of the Saxons, unleashed a reign of terror. He marched his army deeper into Saxon territory, burning villages, destroying crops, and massacring anyone who dared to resist. The Saxons fought back with equal ferocity, but they were outmatched. At the Battle of Suntal Mountain, the Franks crushed the Saxon forces, slaughtering thousands. The Battle of Suntal Mountain was a decisive victory for Charlemagne, but it came at a terrible cost. The rivers of Saxony ran red with blood, and the air was thick with the stench of death. Charlemagne's brutality only served to harden the resolve of the Saxons. They would rather die than submit to his rule. The conflict escalated into a cycle of violence and retribution, a dark chapter in the history of Europe. The darkest chapter of the Saxon Wars was yet to come. In 782, following a Saxon uprising, Charlemagne ordered the massacre of 4,500 Saxon prisoners at Verden. This act of unspeakable cruelty, known as the Verden Massacre, sent shockwaves throughout Europe. It was a stain on Charlemagne's legacy, a chilling reminder of the human cost of his ambition. The Verden Massacre was a turning point in the Saxon Wars, not militarily but morally. It showed the lengths to which Charlemagne was willing to go to achieve his goals. It also hardened the resolve of the Saxons, making any hope of reconciliation impossible.